What is up, guys, and welcome back to yet another video. Today we have a very rare video on a Palantir 10% red day. I cannot think of the last time I've seen something like that. But we're going to go ahead and break down why Palantir is red. We're also going to break down the news on why Palantir is red. And we're also going to break down a few stocks that I think are a bit better of a buy than Palantir right now. I know I've gotten a lot of questions on is Palantir a buy after this red day. It's only seemed to go up, so why wouldn't it continue? And although while that has been true, I do think that there is a few more stocks on the market that are a Palantir 2.0 or a baby Palantir that could really see a better return in the coming years. And I know that's being said after Palantir has ran, 1,000% in the last 2 years, but those returns inevitably have to slow down. So I do think that picking up some other names and just some good rotation here is a smart choice. We're going to go over some price targets to the downside first and then finish with price targets to the upside and then finally jump into those other stocks. But before I do jump into this, make sure you guys do like and subscribe. And if you guys are new to the videos, make sure you guys do jump in that description down below and join our Discord where we have over 500 plus profitable members down there and it is 100% free to join today. So make sure you guys get in there and I'll see you over there. Now, I do have three things to hit on with Palantir that are all bearish. This is most of the news that came out today, and this is a lot to do with obviously a result of a minus 10% day. Now, we have our first set of news being Trump has ordered the Pentagon to prepare a 8% budget cut on government contracts over the next 5 years. Now, Palantir, 56% of their revenue coming in is government contracts, so obviously this affects their business quite heavily. This is a pretty big deal. I don't understand what this will land to quite yet. They haven't, released a whole lot of details as this has just been signed and passed. I don't expect this to, kill the company, of course. But with this company already being overvalued at these levels, I really would start to kind of cut back. If you guys have made, those 10x's on this stock, I really would kind of think about trimming. I don't want to tell you guys what to do with your position. If you guys are long term, I would, hold here maybe. But if you guys are looking to, make your bag and get out, this is your time to get out, in my opinion. Things are starting to turn. You have Alex Karp. This is our second point of bearish news. Alex Karp selling over $1.2 billion worth of shares, which normally isn't that bearish. But $1.2 billion right here is pretty bearish coming after that news. Also, in 2024, Palantir's insider transactions had a $0 buy-in, and they had over $3.14 billion in sales. That means that insiders at Palantir have sold over $3.1 billion in stock and haven't bought back a single dollar. Not a single share, not even a single dollar, guys. People haven't put a single penny into this stock in 2024 from insiders. So while I normally don't take that into much consideration because I understand that you can sell for multiple different reasons, when it is that, one-sided, you do start to kind of question how things are being ran. I think it's a great company. I do think that they have more upside to continue to, but for now, I do think that they are overvalued. I do not think that this stock is worth, $125 like it was today, or even the $112 that it's at right now. I think that this stock is probably more worth around that mid 70 range. I might start grabbing some shares at the high, low 80s if I can. But I really do not think that this valuation is worth it quite yet. I think in the next couple years it definitely will, but I think right now people are, just shooting out and projecting what is going to happen. And while they're most likely going to be right, a lot of companies like this, you can tell when their CEO knows what they're doing and stuff like that. I do think that this company is overvalued for now, and that is why I've stayed out of it. I did initially have, 500 shares of Palantir at an average price of $16. We used to hold that back in the OG Telegram, and then I ended up selling at around $68 and took all my profit, which of course I'm going to be happy with. Of course, I wish I would have held, but I am going to go ahead and take those gains, so I will always be happy with that. And that was my median sell because I thought that was where Palantir was starting to get overvalued, and I wasn't making a long-term hold here. I was looking to make my first big flip, and that's what I did. I made a good, 5, 6, 7 grand off that, put it into HIMS, and we can see what that has done now. But that is enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and look at some downside targets where we can go ahead and target to the downside at this gap fill right here outlined in white. I do think that we bounce here. I don't think that we fill this. I do think that we bounce here. We either bounce at this $100 level or we do bounce at this 96.46 level. I think we bounce somewhere between, that 102 and that $96 level, like I said. And I have that reasoning because we're both in the golden zone and also bouncing off a earnings fair value gap. And a lot of these times, fair value gaps definitely need to be filled, but not when they're earnings gaps, if that makes sense. when a company evolves and takes that next step forward, they don't need to take that two steps backwards always. So I really don't think that we come back through and fill this gap. And I think at worst, we really do. At absolute worst, we do come back down to this $88 range and start to fill this gap, maybe fill it fully. But I don't expect that to happen. And if that gap is filled all the way down to 83, 82, I might honestly be a buyer there. That is a good looking level for Palantir right now. And that is going purely off momentum. I understand that their forecasting does look pretty good. And I do think that this company is worth something. I'm not saying that this is a bad company. I'm not saying if you have Palantir to sell it. I'm just saying right now, as a person who's not in this stock, it is something that you should stay away from. I think this is way too high right now. I really wouldn't start adding to this position heavy until, mid 70s or even lower. Maybe something, if I get something in the 60s again, I definitely would. I don't think that's going to happen though. So let's go ahead and take a leap from here and go ahead and look at GRRR, guys. This is the next stock that I think will have a Palantir-like run-up, and this stock is very similar to Palantir. And the interesting part is they do a lot of government contracts, but it only makes up 22% of their revenue. So this doesn't hit them as hard, and that was shown today by their reaction to, that big sell-off where they did have, a pretty red candle right here, but it was nothing close to that 10% red candle that Palantir had. So that gives me strong conviction that this company will be okay. And I actually called out GRR at 1307, and since then it has ran over 175% since then. And it's been about 2 weeks time since I posted that on my YouTube. So that is just a little bit of a nice little day trade that we've had over the last few weeks. A lot of our premium members have made a good bag off of that, but I do expect them to continue higher. I have a third wave move for GRR targeting that $47 range. And then for a end of the year towards next year, if we can get some good earnings, I do think that this thing can really take off and maybe see $69, which would be pretty nice, of course. And then taking a price target from where we are today, that first price target will be 57%, and then that second price target will be up 130% from where we are today. I do expect GRR to have a good earnings report where they're sitting at $30 right now. And they have an EPS coming in of a little bit over 50 cents with a market cap at only $558 million. That is really good to see on a financial side. So I do like this company long term, and I do hold a little bit of this. I own around 275 shares in an offshore account, um, and I am up over 150% on that. So it has been a pretty good position for me. Now we're going to go ahead and get into our last stock here, which is going to be BBAI. As you guys know, BBAI has been a big runner in the last few weeks. And I do want to hit on something because they are getting really attractive here. This is kind of getting towards that level that I was talking about buying in my last video where I posted BBAI. I said I want to bring it back down to, this $7.30 range, and then anything under that I'll be a buyer. And we're getting pretty close to that. We're about 788. We're down from highs of around 1050. So that is a good, little pullback that I like to see. I do still want to see that $7.30 range before I really start to add heavy here. But you can see we're breaking out of this wedge. We have a really strong base. If you guys don't know, this is looking a lot like Rocket Lab before it exploded. And honestly, a good bit like Palantir. We have this obvious cup and handle and then a good explosion out of there. So this thing can definitely continue higher, and I think it will. I think we'll see $11 by probably mid-March at the latest, and from where we are today, that's around 40%. So making about 40% in about a month, that's a pretty good return, guys. And then our second price target is going to be 117% up to that $17 level, and then moving even higher. And end of the year price target could be up 250% to that 3618 at 2322. This is my end of the year price target because I do expect them to come out with their new product. I can't even remember the name of it right now, but it is supposed to be their new revolutionary product. If that comes out bullish, I 100% expect this 200% price target. If Palantir can continue hot, I expect this to follow. And if Palantir doesn't, I expect some rotation in here. So I do think it's going to be bullish both sides for both GRRR and BBAI. And then I also still think it's going to be bullish for Palantir. I think they're very overvalued, but with the way people are playing this, I can commend it. I think that the holding strategy is very good. I wish people would do that with the stocks that I hold. But I was unfortunately on the selling side of Palantir back in the 70s, so I am a salty vet here. So, but make sure you guys do like and subscribe, and make sure you guys also get down in the description down below, join up on that free Discord, and I will see you guys in the next video.